Salutations, one and all, to the only Super Review Shows Mixed Bag coming to you live once again from many caves. As always, I am joined by the star-filled panel of the Super Review Shows Mixed Bag. Bill, Allie, and Justin are here. What's going on, everyone?
Evening, folks.
What's
My
up?
feet have been killing me all day.
Yes, we all had very busy days today outside of doing Mixed Bag tonight. But we have a very interesting topic. Happy Labor Day to all of you, all of our American listeners out there. It's coming up next week, and Bill has something to say. I'm sorry, bud. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce the topic, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, as you know, um, for many across the country this week, school is starting back up.
Sorry, it already started about a couple weeks ago down south.
Yes.
As for most of the country, summer break is over and school is back in session. Well, where we are, where three of us are, where the three out of the four of us are, school starts next week. So yeah, kids, if you live in the Northeast, you get about another week of summer left. So use it wisely.
Don't do anything stupid.
Justin, do something stupid.
Okay.
Let me guess what you guys are going to be using this time.
All right, go ahead. Yes.
Something to do with feathers, maybe toilet paper, and a jug of tar.
Hmm.
I didn't think about the toilet paper, but that's a great idea, Allie.
We can't tell you what we're doing. You're going to have to see what happens. But anyway,
Absolutely.
in the
I forgot the
spirit,
glue.
I'll
the
make
hot
sure that
glue.
your name's on the signed confession.
up. Order of the court. Order of the court.
I'll take a
No.
ham on Ryan.
Court is in order. Okay. In the spirit of school starting again, there were days, and we all remember these days in school, when, regardless of what class it was, there would be a day when the teacher would roll in a TV, and some of us would get excited. Some of us would get excited because guess what that means?
Movie day.
But as we got older, what did that mean if there was a movie? Justin?
Assignment time.
Which means you have to answer the questions or write a paper.
Yep.
They could have just let you enjoy the film. You actually have to think.
We don't want to think.
Think
Never
it's
really
bad.
watched in high school unless it was like a documentary we had to watch and write a report on.
Okay. So anyway, our assignment today, our topic today, sorry, brain fart there, is today we are going to be talking about movies that we were forced to watch in school. And we're also going to have a little side conversation of movies maybe we should watch, that schools should be showing.
Yes, for all you teachers out there who are listening or watching us,
Take notes.
please take note.
Or you,
I hope you're watching this, mother. You have 1 month left of teaching.
So, anyway, y'all better take good notes. There will be a test on this. Didn't you all read my syllabus?
Yeah.
I thought I burned it in the fireplace.
Allie, just because you failed this class.
I sacrificed mine to the Demon Cthulhu. My bad.
Hey, this is why you guys failed my class last semester. Now you are getting another chance. Unluckily for you, I am the only one who teaches this class.
I'll take the W for 500.
Nope, this is a class you need to graduate. And we've had staff shortages.
Protocols for 200, Alex.
And since we've had staff and shortages, I'm the only one who teaches this class.
Suck it!
Oh boy.
Hey,
The day is mine.
the board cut our funding.
We're not sponsored. It's okay.
But anyway, Okay, so anyway, so we're talking about movies that we were forced to watch in school and movies that school should be watching. Okay, who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Miss Wiener, would you like to go first?
Yeah, let me volunteer as tribute. Although I didn't watch that in school. Okay. So I'm going to
Ah,
talk about band class.
okay.
So my freshman year, God bless, I miss my band teacher. He passed away from a stroke about a few years ago. We were doing a song by Beethoven called Allegretto. Honestly, it was one of my favorite songs I got to do. I was pretty much one of the leads in this. And after watching it, guess what movie he put on?
What movie is that?
He put on The King's Speech. And I think I also watched this in English in my speech class as well. So which is my senior year, because he talked about like how they used Allegretto in like one of the biggest moments of King George VI's like monarchy, of him talking on the radio during World War II. Which honestly, I'm surprised this has never been used in like history classes too.
Hmm.
'Cause
I, I mean,
like I'm
yeah,
gonna
that
say
would
this is
make
a
a
both.
great.
I watched this, and I also want this to be in more high school classes.
I feel like you can teach an entire World War II class just based on movies about World War II.
I actually took a class based on about World War II, and we watched a lot of movies.
Wow.
Wow.
We'll talk more about that when, as the show goes on.
But mainly, this movie is about King George VI and how he overcame his stuttering issues to present his speech to the British Empire. And a lot of these like vocal exercises you see, I'm surprised. Like, I'm glad my band teacher made us watch this movie. Also, my public speaking teacher, I think, did this too. I was not forced, but as soon as I heard, oh, it's an Oscar-winning movie, I'm like, okay, let's give it a whirl. Because I like Oscar-winning movies.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't like Oscar-winning movies?
What do you think, Dr. Matt Hemsley?
Hemsley, you better be watching this, or we're going to be very upset.
He actually is, Bill, and he commented already about the King's Speech. He said, "For those who don't know, we do the show live Wednesday nights EST in the evening around 7 p.m. And our dear friend Dr. Matt Hemsley said, I watched the King's Speech for my final assignment of my freshman year of college. Fabulous. Thank you for that comment. Keep it coming.
But what do you guys think? Should this be more used in like public speaking classes, history
Oh
classes? I know
yeah,
we mentioned
public
history.
speaking class, absolutely.
Yes.
I feel like and I know that the Jeffrey Rush's character kind of a fraud, but his methods worked. They did work, and King George was able to deliver his speech. So, yeah, absolutely, there should be something in public speaking classes. If you have a more targeted history class where it's like World War II through cinema or something like that, this would be a great addition to that.
Or
It's
even
a great
European
movie.
history too.
Yeah.
I would say more global history, but
I mean, it is very much focused on the British side of World War II. Everything with King Edward's rescinding the throne. Which, let's be honest, that was probably what kind of led to King George's early death. The stress of having to become king when he was never meant to be.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Our dear friend Matt Hemsley also said some people hate watching Oscar-winning movies, but not me. Good for you,
Of
Matt.
course, because he's our
And that's
Oscars
why
expert.
I mean, this again, Oscar-winning movies they have an educational portion.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And with the public speaking, yeah, I think it should be shown in global history classes, but it should be shown in public speaking because you got to know this. Couple things. It really shows you that the look, he was the king of England, and he had a stutter because there was actually in the original, that scene when he goes, "Well, can you curse?" Going, "Of course I can," and then he goes F F F F F, which gave the movie an R rating. And like, listen, I've talked about
Yeah.
that before. I don't like how just language just gives
Don't get
movies
me
an R
started
rating.
because it's literally him just shouting the words.
And
Like he doesn't have any meaning behind the words or anything. It's just him shouting the words.
It's just that, topic for a different conversation, but there are PG-13 movies that are like super, super, super violent.
There are
And
PG movies back in the 80s that have full frontal female nudity.
and yet those get a pass, but yet saying one too many F words, oh no, we're gonna have to slap an R rating on it. But
And you
they
want to know
actually
something interesting about that?
what?
So this movie was distributed by Miramax, Weinstein's company.
Oh,
He actually had the movie recut
And
to
replace the F's
remove
with
that scene. So the only curse word he says was shit.
I actually thought it was
so
he
that the
only
movie
said
could get a PG-13 rating.
I thought he only said I thought at that scene was he only said the F word once and the rest of them were all shit, 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 shit. But
Okay, it might have been that. I don't know. I never watched the PG-13 cut.
it could have been one of them, but the reason why they did that was because they wanted young people struggling with stuttering to see the movie. Because they wanted to market it towards young people who had speech impediments.
Right.
And which I think was a good thing to do. And like, listen, people who struggle with speech impediments out there, look, King George, and I'm not getting political here, Joe Biden, he had a stutter and he became president. So I think, so yeah, anyone who struggles with a speech impediment out there, watch this movie. And also, what's a scene that I really think about, and I think it's a very powerful scene? King George is sitting there watching Hitler talk and giving a speech. And his daughter, who later became Queen Elizabeth, goes, "Daddy, what is he saying?" Going, "Honey, I don't know what he's saying, but whatever it is, he's saying it very well." Because, because that really shows you that being a good speaker and like that how you speak could really grab people in there. And I think that's what that scene is showing. That, maybe because when you look at someone like King George who has again, think about that, what he said. Whatever he's saying it very well.
Mm.
And that's not praising him. That's just saying, because he's probably thinking, oh my God, I have a stutter. And this guy
is going to take over the planet, and yeah.
I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm not.
We do.
Yes, we understand what you're
saying because this guy speaks very well. So,
and I have to compete with that.
Exactly. That's what he was thinking, because I have a stutter and this guy is like going a mile a minute. So that really shows you that, how people speak, what it could do to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And trust me, I have some World War II movies on my list, and don't worry, we'll get to those. So, yeah, but anyway, no, good pick. And I think this would be a more public speaking movie than a history movie, but I think it could be both.
I had this for band class, which is the odd movie.
Right.
What was that, Justin?
Oh, absolutely could be both, because I enjoyed it for the history value, but like I see the continuing value more as an inspiring story about public speaking.
No, absolutely.
This was Allie's pick, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to go down the list? Are you good, Allie? Is that all you had to say?
Oh,
Are we good
I'm
with that?
trying to think. Do you want me to give you a couple more, or do you want me to come back?
Let's go back.
Uh,
Let's go around the horn.
Let's go around the horn. Bill, you want to go next?
Sure. Okay. This first one I'm going to talk about is actually a documentary.
Uh-oh. Is it the one I'm thinking of?
You tell me. And I think it's appropriate because the gentleman who just did this documentary recently passed away.
It is the one I'm thinking of. I didn't choose it, so we didn't swipe right, but I know.
Fair enough. And this was a documentary that I'm sure we all watched in health class.
Yep.
I'm ready. Supersize Me.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, I think all of us in middle school had to watch this.
Yep.
The movie that destroyed the supersize.
I think I watched this in 5th grade.
Okay. For
I
those
watched this in sophomore year PE.
Now, for those of you who've never seen the movie, this is actually based on a true story. It's a documentary, so of course it's true. The movie is about the documentary. It's about Morgan Spurlock. Like I said, he passed away recently. May he rest in peace.
Earlier this year, correct?
He passed away earlier this year. May he rest in peace. The story was, it was about two girls who were overweight and they blamed McDonald's for them being overweight. And then because I think the judge said something like, hey, if you could prove that McDonald's was the cause of your injuries, you might have a case. So Morgan Spurlock went, okay, I'm going to see what happens for the next 30 days. I eat nothing but McDonald's for the next 30 days.
And if he's asked to supersize, he has to do it.
Yeah, so the rules were, 1, he has to have everything on the menu at least once. 2, he could only eat stuff from McDonald's. And 3, Justin, what was that rule again?
If he's asked if he wants to supersize, he has to do it.
And the man was just, did this destroy him? He was in very bad shape after this. He was in very bad shape after this, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Let's see, how much did he gained a bunch of weight. He gained a bunch of weight. Okay, let's see if they have. Okay. At the beginning of this experiment, he was 6'2" and had a body weight of 185 pounds.
Okay.
He was mostly vegan because his first wife was a
vegan chef.
Was a vegan chef. Thank you for remembering that for me. I appreciate it. But at the end of the experiment, he gained like 25 pounds, I think. He gained like 25 pounds. It went up. His cholesterol and everything just went up.
Yeah.
And the doctors, many times, if you remember, they told him, stop. You keep going, you're going to kill yourself. And it took him a while and if he continued, he could have died. And then afterwards, it took him a while to lose all the weight.
Yeah.
And get everything back to normal. And you know how they show about fast food marketing to kids and all that. And they also show a certain fast food spokesperson. Let's just say it didn't age well. You know who I'm talking about.
Hmm.
The Subway guy.
Ugh.
Yeah. Because I watched it recently and they showed a scene with him. Like, yeah, this did not age well.
Also, another thing about this movie, it's recently been coming out that some of the stuff
It's
portrayed
fabricated.
in the movie fabricated. Yeah.
Because there was a contradictory documentary out called Fathead,
Hmm.
in which he said, and which the guy did, like he tried to do the same thing as Morgan Spurlock did, except with a few adjustments. I can't remember what they were, but it turns out that he didn't gain the weight that Morgan Spurlock did. And then it was coming out that, hey, Morgan, release your food logs. A lot of this was because he was eating like 5,000 calories a day. And
Yeah.
and you know what it is? And I saw a YouTube video on this. I think this movie tried to shame people out of eating fast food. But at the same time, because everybody at all the doctors at the end, should anyone eat fast food? No. And if anyone's familiar with Dr. Mike on YouTube,
Oh, I love Dr. Mike.
Mhm.
he did a reaction to it. When you're done watching this, go watch that. But he says it perfectly. He says, listen, we're doctors, we're not your parents. People should be aware of the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And people should be aware, like my personal opinion, you guys can agree or disagree. Fast food's bad for you.
Yes.
But, once in a while, don't
Fine.
don't eat it for 30 days. If you go to McDonald's and have a quarter pounder, you're not going to drop of a heart attack.
No.
But if you eat consistently, you do.
Exactly. Like everything I think the problem with our world nowadays is we just look things into extremes. At the end of the day, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Have everything in moderation. And this brings up like this brings up to, because he even says the English, if you want to continue eating this food, go right ahead. But you gotta think about it first. Who's gonna go first? You or him?
Mm.
Meaning Ronald McDonald. And but you also gotta think about it this way. The whole message, what these girls are suing McDonald's for, no one is forcing you to eat this.
Yeah.
No.
And listen, if I was the judge in that case, I'd throw it out. I was like, you chose to eat it. So it's McDonald's didn't force you to eat it. So bye.
I will say this. Fast food can be considered addictive.
Oh, it can.
Yep.
That's an issue too. But that's not what they were addressing in this documentary. So
I think that's the one flaw. If they tried to talk about it more from an addictive standpoint,
then they'd have more legs to stand on.
but it was just fast food bad, fast food bad, fast food bad. What was that?
I mean, I feel like yes and no, because also some of these fast food places did have healthier options and then they got rid of it.
Yeah, because they weren't selling.
Come on, those wraps from McDonald's were good. The sweet
Okay,
and spicy.
okay. So a line from Big Bang Theory that my dad was watching today sums it up perfectly. Who goes to McDonald's for apple slices?
I'm sorry, I don't even I go for they had when I was working at McDonald's in high school, they had like those big wraps. Okay, they were good. They need to bring them back.
I know what you're talking about, the mixed snack wraps. I was
Not
never
the
a fan.
snack wraps, the bigger wraps.
There were bigger wraps.
Yes.
Dear God, girl.
But at the end of the day, people are smart enough to know, hey,
Hopefully.
I shouldn't eat McDonald's for 30 days.
Correct.
We need it for 28 days.
Listen, people
Nah.
are smarter than others think they are. So, yeah, but like Justin said, this movie eliminated the supersize option.
Yep.
And at the end,
Thanks,
yeah, but
Morgan.
I think this is a good documentary. Like I said, I think a lot of the stuff that has come out now, like why didn't you release your food logs? Why didn't you,
Mm.
what's other stuff?
I was going to say, this would go to this for the just to sum it all up. This would go to health class, or this would go to phys ed. Which one did you say? I forget.
I watched it in health class.
Health
I
class.
don't want to watch it in phys ed.
I watched it in elementary school.
Okay. I watched it in middle school for health class. I wasn't sure. I didn't see it in health in high school. That was a different documentary. Anyways,
Yeah, but that's my first pick.
is that
Supersize Me.
cool? Justin, what do you got?
All right. So I basically chose one movie from like a different subject that was being shown in. So the first one I want to talk about is math class.
Oh, okay. Starting off.
And let's go to the favorite movie of every math class substitute teacher, Stand and Deliver.
Ooh, I saw that once. I think I was like in 8th grade.
I was in 7th grade when I saw
Was it
it.
in math class?
Yes.
There you go.
But I will say this, South Park does it a lot better.
Yeah. And what's this movie about? It's about a teacher who's trying to teach these underserved students AP calculus so they can have better lives, because they are all troubled youths. I think one of them's pregnant, if I'm remembering correctly.
I haven't watched this movie in years, so
The South Park parody. I'm not sure.
I might be confusing it with the South Park parody a little bit, because that's more recent in my mind. But yeah, it's this inner city math teacher. He's trying to reach these kids. He's trying to teach them, like, at first it's just trigonometry, and none of them care, and he's trying to make them care. And then he tries to convince them that they could take the AP calculus test and get into a good college. There's practically no real math in this. It's all him trying to reach these kids. Oh, and the one scene where he has a heart attack. There's a reason why it's usually the substitute teachers who show this. It's because it's math adjacent. It's just, I mean, it's a good movie, but is it really something you just you just watch in a math class? Like, I don't think any normal math teacher would show this unless it's like the last day of school and exams are already over.
well,
I could be wrong.
in 8th grade, I took a class called Resources Management.
Yep, I remember that class.
And by the way, I think that's a class that should be offered in schools, by the way. Justin, agree or disagree?
Um, Honestly, I didn't exactly see the point, but go ahead.
But no, it teaches you like stuff about working, and
Oh, yeah.
and then
I'm
and I,
glad you got stuff out of that class. I didn't.
but there was a I think we watched this because we did a unit on like motivation or something like that.
Yeah.
I think there was better movies to show, but we'll get to that if we do. But well, no, I remember seeing, but that was the only time I watched this movie, to be honest.
Like it's not a movie where it's not a movie where I would really sorry, a little distracted right now. It's not a movie that I would rewatch on my
How come?
um I don't know, it's just not one of those, it doesn't appeal to me that much. Like it doesn't have the charisma of like a Brad Pitt movie. Like the only really memorable thing about it is the teacher. Um, other than that, watch the South Park parody.
All right. Now, like I
I
said,
know
I've only watched it once, and I
about
barely
Jack.
remember it. I only saw it once, and I barely remembered it.
I think it was shown to me in a study hall once.
Hmm.
All right.
Is that everything for Stand and Deliver?
Yes.
I've said my piece, which
All
is
right.
none.
Allie, got anything else for this or no?
No, JT, it's your turn.
No, I know.
I'm good.
Okay, just checking. All right. So this is a true story. Not the movie. Well, the movie, yes. Actually, both. I guess you say both are parts are a true story. So when I was in, it was third period going to fourth period. Fourth period, I had history class, 10th grade global, with my mother. I kid you not. Yes, and I'm not joking. My guidance counselor gave my mother as my teacher in high school. It's a very unique experience.
I had my phone here, so you know, JP is not alone.
It was one of the most weirdest, most unique experiences of my life. Crazy to say, but the truth. That actually did happen. Anyways, one of the movies we watched in my mother's global class was Gandhi.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen
JT,
that since high school.
please
With
swiped right, but I can choose another one.
damn it. Okay, all right, fine. Ben Kingsley's Ben Kingsley? Yes, Ben Kingsley. As
Yeah.
Gandhi from 1982. Best picture of the year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I
I
think it
believe
did win
so.
In the 83.
Best Picture.
What's that?
It did win Best Picture, yes.
Okay. And it's a long movie. It's a very, very long movie. Needless to say, it tells the life of Mahatma Gandhi and how his rise to fame, not power, but fame, and how he was portrayed by Ben Kingsley, and how the whole it's I would call it the Lawrence of Arabia of the 80s, personally, because it's like a 3 hour movie. It's a total epic film. And I don't mean like epic, like, dude, it's total, no, I mean like it's an epic film. It's a 3 hour epic masterpiece, for lack of a better word. And it's a very powerful movie too, about how Gandhi's rise to fame. And the last scene of the movie is him being shot. Because that's what happened in real
And
life.
the first scene of the movie.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, the first scene and the last scene is him dying. it tells his life story and all that stuff, and how the British Empire. But this is obviously a very history centric movie. Not for World War II, but just for like how the British Empire operated back in the 20s, 30s, right? If I'm not mistaken. I forgot I forget the time period exactly. I've been out of it. 30s, 40s. Thank you. For lack of a better word, though, this movie is a very powerful movie. It is Ben Kingsley, and I think he won the Oscar too, right? For best actor, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did. I'm drawing a blank on that part. But nonetheless, though, Gandhi is one of those movies that if you've never seen it and you have 3 hours to kill, watch Gandhi. You'll actually enjoy it. And don't watch it on TV. If you have like a Blu-ray copy or if you can find it on streaming, it is a crazy masterpiece of a film that was done in the 80s with Ben Kingsley as the lead actor. Fantastic movie overall. Do you guys have any comments for Gandhi at all from the 30s and 40s?
So, JT, I didn't have your mother as my global studies teacher, but
Okay. That's fine.
it was offered for any of my class's students to stay after school to watch this movie. And your mother did host the movie.
Of course you did.
What can I say? When I was in high school, I was an extra credit for.
You were.
I was. But then again, who wasn't? Especially
of course,
when it involves watching a
movie. Watching a movie for credit.
But in all honesty, this movie, I feel, was a very important movie in my development as a filmmaker, as a writer, as a critic. Because I think this was one of the first movies that I was ever in awe of. Like, there were other movies that I loved, but this is the first time I was like, oh wow. Like, you notice the craft and the filmmaking on display. You notice the performances, you notice how transformative it is. Like, you don't even feel like you're watching actors. Like, you feel like you're actually there watching the events unfold. And kudos to excuse me. Kudos to the late great Dickie Attenborough for directing this masterpiece. Kudos to, why am I blanking on his name? Jesus. Ben Kingsley. Kudos to Ben Kingsley for delivering a masterclass of a performance. This absolutely deserves to be talked about in schools.
Especially history class. But go on, Bill.
Would you like to talk about that experience of watching the movie after school, Justin, with JT's mom in the room?
So, I do have one story. There was, as there always is, a group of kids just chatting through the movie. And JT, your mother lost it. She was like, she yelled at them, "Will you stop it? Or the deal's off. I don't even have to be here."
Sounds about right. My mother's never been on the Super Review Show, but there's a good reason for that.
We'll just say this. JT's mom is a lovely lady, but do not mess with her.
And I'm just saying this because I can, if you fuck with her, she will ruin your life.
No, she is that person you do not want to. let's just say she's that person. She could be your best friend
Or your worst enemy.
or your worst enemy.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Nope.
Yeah, she's that person. She can either be your best friend or your worst enemy.
And I know she loves podcasts, so I really hope she downloads this episode. She can listen to this.
I think she'd get a kick out of it. I think she'd get a good kick out of it.
Well, luckily, I'm going to cut the show up into segments for the channel, but that's besides the point. Anyways,
By
but Gandhi.
by the way, Mrs. Mahoney, I do not blame you. I hate when people talk during the movie.
And because you know
Yes.
what, in that situation, I don't blame your JT. I don't blame your mom because she would be because hey, I'm doing this out of my and what Justin she'd offered it for other students for extra credit or something.
Yeah, Mrs. Mahoney was not my global studies teacher.
Careful with names, guys. Just letting you know. But I think I know who yours was, but that's the point.
But anyway,
You can tell me later.
they were anyway. I agree with you. It'd be like hey, I'm doing this out of my own time. I'm doing this out of the goodness in my heart, and if you don't appreciate it, then and you end up failing the class, that's a you problem because you had an opportunity to get extra credit. Like, did you have to write anything about it, Justin, or did you just have to watch it?
I can't remember. I feel like there were some things they wanted us to pay attention to, particularly with the whole India versus Pakistan, Hindus versus Muslims conflict in the third act.
Oh yeah.
Well, because remember, my teacher said, "Oh, I would like to show it to you guys, but that movie's going to take us a while. It's going to take us like a while to watch because it's 3 hours."
My global studies class, we watched a lot of movies too. I think we watched Last Samurai, Hotel Rwanda.
Ooh, I watched those two. I watched some of he only showed my teacher only showed us like a scene or two from Last Samurai. We did watch Hotel Rwanda though. Very powerful film, by the way.
Obviously the beginning of Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, we watched the whole Saving Private Ryan.
The most disturbing one we've watched though was The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Ooh, yeah, that is a pretty rough watch.
Yeah.
All right.
To see this, I barely get to see stuff in my school. But then again, my school didn't have a lot.
Okay. So, anyone else have anything else to say about Gandhi?
I think we're good for Gandhi, guys. Now we're back to the top. Allie, what do you got for your number
Okay.
2?
Going into these war movies, I feel like they should be included in schools, especially some of the more recent ones. I think I have 2, right? For example, the first one, 1917.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen this movie as much, but my parents love it, and they're both teachers, so this is a shout out.
It was actually my number 1 movie of 2019.
Oh.
Right.
It wasn't mine, but it was on the list.
But mainly, what was the whole concept? It was just soldiers trying to deliver a message.
Yeah, to say that there's a German ambush and to call off the attack.
Well, I wish this was shown. I wish this was shown earlier when we were in school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know what? There's really not a lot of World War I movies out there.
There isn't, but the ones that are out there are fantastic, and they do deserve some more love. And no, I'm not just counting Wonder Woman.
There's also All Quiet on the Western Front.
Boo.
Oh.
Wait, what do you get so quiet on the Western Front?
No, I was booing, nothing. Never mind. Continue. Sorry.
Allie, go on.
All right. Actually, shoot. No, was this shown? Yeah, I think I had another one that was actually shown. This was going into my memory bank a long time ago. I think this was shown in. I've watched this either in 8th grade or my junior year. I had the same teacher, my history teacher. Did Dances with Wolves. I don't know why. for like Western thing. What?
Was that your next pick, or you're just mentioning that? I'm sorry.
Mentioning it right now, just thinking about all these movies, it just came to my head.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Sorry.
Because I haven't seen that movie in like ages. But the other movie that also another Oscar, the most recent Oscar winner that probably should start being shown in schools. Let's say it, people. Oppenheimer.
Yes.
It's time to bring Oppenheimer to high school history class.
Only if the class before it shows Barbie.
Yes.
Barbenheimer.
See
But it
how
was
the health class people can watch Barbie, and then the history people can watch Oppenheimer.
it's time to bring Oppenheimer into schools.
Yes, Barbie's next. We love Barbie.
Oh my goodness.
Oppenheimer deserves to be taught.
Oppenheimer too much that I'm not gonna. We don't need to talk about it.
Talk about what?
Oppenheimer.
No, it's a great movie. I think it should be included in schools, libraries for movies.
Because
But
you know
yeah.
what I think's so good about Oppenheimer? It kind of shows the moral qualms of dropping the bomb. Was it the right thing to do? Was it not the right thing to do?
And it implies a definitive answer without outright saying it.
And because you show that Robert Oppenheimer felt guilt about it.
Yeah.
Because you remember that scene when he's talking to Harry Truman afterwards, and he goes, "Mr. President, did we do the right thing?" And Truman just says, "Get this crybaby out of my office."
Yeah, he
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Truman basically, by the way, that's Gary Oldman as Truman. Truman basically said, "You don't have to worry about killing those people. I killed those people."
And do you remember that scene, Justin, like right after it happened, and there's like this rally and with the team, and Oppenheimer goes, "My only regret is we didn't do it on the Germans."
Yeah.
Because Robert Oppenheimer was Jewish, so
Yeah.
and but there's also historical inaccurate. But there's also in that movie the poison apple. Nobody knows if that scene is actually true or not.
I think that was in the book that the movie was adapting. American Prometheus.
Yeah, and Robert Oppenheimer's grandson came out and said those are very serious accusations.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Robert Oppenheimer's grandson just didn't read the book or.
I guess we'll never truly know because, well, all parties involved are long dead.
Right. Okay. Is that it for Oppenheimer?
So all we have right now are secondhand accounts.
Yeah. Anything else you got, Allie, or over to me?
One more. I'm just thinking of another one that deserves love and should be shown in schools. And it just came to my head right now. And I did read the book about it. Black Klansman.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh.
History.
Dark.
Like this, I mean, everyone knows about the Rosa Parks stuff, and they always show the Rosa Parks movie and the Ruby Bridges movie. But this is a new one that should be shown in high school, like U.S. history, high school, like government classes. Real, true. Seeing what it's like to be a black person in the KKK, or having somebody and hiring somebody to be you.
Yeah. I don't know if I would show the whole movie, but definitely parts of it that definitely relate to the historical element of it.
I mean, you could probably show the whole movie in like a college history class. High school.
Yeah. In a college, yes. But high school, some of it is very politically charged.
Mm.
But you know what? No, I would show the ending, especially where they show the Charlottesville riots.
Mm,
Oh.
You know why? Because it shows that racism is still alive and still prevalent in our society.
yes.
Yeah.
And oh, I'm probably gonna get canceled again, aren't I, Justin?
You're good.
Hashtag cancel Bill. Time for your apology tour.
Actually, no, I'm not gonna apologize for that one, actually, believe it or not.
Rebel.
But no, what I was saying is, I'm sorry. No, I really like that movie. Um, all right, Allie, you good or
think I got a good amount of it.
okay?
And I did a lightning round of like 3 or 4 too.
That's good.
Okay. So I'm debating. I got one for an English class, or should I go to or stick to my wheelhouse in history?
Wait, I got one for English class too.
Are you thinking the same I'm thinking? No, it's
What
not
are
that
you
one.
thinking?
I was
Okay.
thinking more of a classic, but I think I know what you were thinking. And you know what I'll do for you, Justin, because I think you really want to talk
What?
about this.
Oh boy.
I'm going to let you go first, and then you go
Ooh.
back to me, okay?
So, welcome to Fright Night for real.
Right, Night?
Yeah, believe it or not, Bill and I both watched this movie in the same class. The original from 1985.
Yeah, we were actually in. You know what's funny? We're best friends, but this was the only class in high school we were in together.
Yeah. Um, we watched some interesting movies in 12th grade literature. And no, we didn't necessarily watch movies based on the books we were reading. We kind of watched adjacent movies and sort of like looked for the common themes. And the book we read right before watching this masterpiece of the 80s was Dracula. And funny story, I actually rewatched this movie a few days ago. This Saturday there was an event in my hometown that had a screening of Fright Night where two of the original actors actually introduced the movie. So that was pretty cool. And I'll tell you guys a little something off camera about this movie as well. But we just watched Dracula. I mean, we just read Dracula, and our teacher was not a fan of any of the film adaptations of Dracula, not even the Francis Ford Coppola movie from the 90s. Although I'm sure they're, and no, it's not just because of the Keanu Reeves thing. So we put on this. It's a movie where B horror movie aficionado discovers that his new next door neighbor is a vampire who is killing prostitutes right next door to him, and he's trying to stop them with the help of the host of the horror movie marathon that he watches, who's based on Vincent Price. It features Prince Humperdinck as a hammy vampire. Come on. It's a fantastic, fun, cheesy 80s movie. I took my girlfriend Catherine to see it. She enjoyed the hell of it. She loved the practical effects. And it's not a movie you would think you would be watching in an English literature class, but here we are. And you know what? Watching the movie again, you do kind of see the themes that you were talking about in Dracula, the whole Madonna horror complex, the allegory of vampirism being sex, or more appropriately, the R word.
I know what you mean.
Yep. And it's interesting watching it 12 years later, with more of a with a more refined perspective of film, because I didn't appreciate it enough when I first saw it in class, but now I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I remember watching this. This was such a corny film, though.
Oh, but it's great. It's so good. It's so 80s.
I do remember enjoying the movie. I remember, back, spawn of Satan. Seriously, you think that's going to work?
You have to have faith for it to work on me.
Oh, he's coming over, so we don't have to go out for dinner.
You're so cool, Brewster.
It was such a weird film, but I kind of enjoyed it.
Oh, it was fantastic. I loved it. And I loved rewatching it again all these years later.
Yeah, because you know what? That's what our teacher did. He never really showed us films that were based off the book.
No. He showed us movies where the themes are the same, but it's a different stories to sort of give us an idea of the connecting tissue.
Like, he would show us some scenes from like Dracula adaptations, but
Especially Dead or Loving It.
and you know what I remember?
She's Nosferatu. She's Italian?
Remember when we were watching the movie, what was it? When we were reading the book Lord of the Flies, he showed us the movie Platoon.
Yes. Wait, I thought we were reading the things they carried when we watched Platoon.
No, I think it was I don't know.
Because
I think it
Platoon's a
was things
Vietnam
that
movie,
carried.
and the thing they carry is stories out of Vietnam. So I don't know.
But yeah, that was interesting though. He never really showed us movies that were based off the book. He showed us movies that had common themes, which was interesting actually.
And fun fact, he also showed us a clip from Spider-Man 2 to demonstrate Jesus imagery to us.
Remember, today we're going to talk about why Spider-Man
is Jesus.
Oh, that was a fun class.
Yep.
Okay, you ready for my pick now? All right. Should I go for something for English class, or should I stick in my wheelhouse, which is history? What do y'all think?
Go for it, Bill.
Okay, and I'm sure we're gonna have another turn after this, but I think this is a movie I didn't really watch in high school, but I know schools that did show this movie, and I think it's very important to watch it, especially in today's climate. To Kill a Mockingbird.
God damn it, Bill, we swiped right.
Right.
I also
All
saw
right, time for
this in that same teacher's class, but 2 years prior.
For those of you who haven't read the book, all three of you.
Oh, I read the book.
Yep.
And I read the sequel.
The movie is
Did
based
not read
off
the sequel.
the movie is based off the book by Harper Lee, which basically tells the story of Atticus Finch, played by Gregory Peck, and how through the eyes of his daughter Scout, because Atticus Finch is appointed to defend a black man, Tom Robinson, who is accused of non-consensual activity with the town drunk's daughter.
Yeah.
And I think what's so great about this film is, and it's in the book too, Atticus actually defends Tom Robinson. It's
And
not.
as we find out later, this is despite his personal views.
Yeah, that's in the sequel book, but here's the thing: he actually defends him. He actually is his attorney. He's not just, yeah, I'm your attorney. I don't care what happens. He actually defends him. But if you read the book, he has doubts. He's like thinking, listen, best case scenario is Tom Robinson doesn't get put to death. That's the best case scenario. And he gets life in prison.
Yeah.
But that scene when he gives that speech in the courtroom, goes,
I would
by the
say
name
that's.
of God, gentlemen, do your duty.
I would say that scene is in the top 50 scenes of any movie ever.
It's the scene that cemented him as one of the great actors.
It really is. And this movie, you just want to. It's such a good. And the weird thing, and the good thing is, it comes from a child's perspective.
Yeah.
And it's just. And I think this is a movie that needs to be shown. It needs to be shown in classes. And the movie, and I don't remember if this scene was in the movie. You remember in the book, there is the jury was kind of held up a little bit because there was this one guy who was part of the lynch mob in the book to hang Tom Robinson, who was actually the father of a friend, the father of one of Scout's classmates. And he was on the jury, and in the book they said, well, the jury took a little longer because there was a man named Cunningham who couldn't make up his mind. Because that scene shows that maybe, people can change. Views can change.
Yeah.
Views can change. And, did he unfortunately vote to have him convicted? Yes, but he was thinking about, maybe he's innocent. But you got to look at it this way. It's the South. It's the 1930s. In this book, in this movie, a black man is not getting a fair shake. No. If any of you know your history, you're all smart people. That's why you watch this podcast. JT, you have something to say about this?
Well, since this was my other pick for the night, as far as like English class, or because we read the book and we watched the movie afterwards. It is a powerful movie. It is a powerful, powerful, powerful film. And it's more than just Boo Radley. It's more than just Scout's opinion and stuff. It is about, we're not going to get political at all. I refuse to get political on our podcast. I will say that this is a very informative movie of its time, and of course today as well. If you read the book and you know the story of To Kill a Mockingbird, and you watch the movie too, oh, excuse me. if you watch the movie too, you'll have a better understanding of the movie and the story that's being portrayed. It's a
Yeah.
powerful, powerful, powerful story. Go ahead, Bill.
And I just want to say something about modern context here. Um, this book has been banned because there was a district a couple years ago, and you heard me talk about this before, that said, well, we don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. That's the fucking point. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable when you read this. You're supposed to, damn, Tom Robinson was treated kind of shitty. I don't want other people to be treated like that. And you want to know something. And I'm not going to get too political, but I think this is a statement that needs to be said. Justin, where's the soapbox?
Oh boy.
No, deal with it.
Yes.
There have been movements in this country to have books banned, and this has been one of them. Do not let them ban this book. This is a book that everyone needs to read. This is a book. This is a movie that everyone needs to watch. If there are educators watching this, do not let them ban this book. Stand your ground. This is no matter how many people complains, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Please, this teaches about racism. This teaches about empathy. This teaches about the goodness of humanity. This was one of my favorite books in high school. Do not let them ban this book. Do not let them ban this movie. No matter how many school board meetings people want to complain about it. This book, and if there's any people who are on school boards across the country watching this, stand your ground. This book needs to be read. The story needs to be known. Do not let people ban books.
Because the next step from banning books is burning books.
And we all know what the last time that happened. So please, do not let this book get banned. Okay, am I right? Or am I sounding like I'm trying to die for a cause here?
You're good.
You're good.
Okay.
I'm Bill Murphy, and I approve this message.
You approve my message. All right. Anybody got anything else, or?
No, I'm good. This is my last. What's up?
I got a couple more, but I could just lighten around it.
Yeah, if you want to lightning round your picks, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Justin, you got any more? Actually, Allie, you guys got any more?
I kind of lightning round all my history one. I kind of have one more for history. If you want me to just do that one,
Just
we
get
can
out
do
of the
that
way.
one, and I'll see if I got one.
Let's get out of the way, Justin.
Let's go to the ultimate movie to teach the Cold War in a lightning round. Forrest Gump. So I was in the 8th grade. And we our teacher hands out these permission slips for us to watch this movie. Now, 8th grade, we're all 13. Most of us are 13. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why do we need permission slips to watch this movie? And when we watched the movie, I really didn't get it either. It took me a little bit to sort of understand why maybe middle school would need permission slips for this movie. There are some suggestive scenes, drug use, etc., etc. It's not even the violence. It's not even the language. It's just there are a lot of scenes where there's a promiscuity to it. There's some heavy subject matter involving death, illness, drugs, all that. But I watched this in our social studies class back in 8th grade. We were just about to start covering the Cold War, and this is really the first time they were teaching us the Cold War in social studies. Because they weren't teaching that to us in elementary school or anything like that. And seventh grade was the first half of American history. So, we see America's history from the 50s to the 80s through the lens of this. What's the best way to put it? Simple. Bill needs some help here.
Okay, can you repeat that, please?
How should I refer to Forrest? Simple or special needs or?
Yeah, special needs, I think, would be a better term.
Okay, so special. He's a man who is obviously in need of special needs. His IQ is like 70 something.
75.
75, thank you. His mother had to do awful things in order to get him into school. And from Little Rock, Arkansas, all the way up to the AIDS epidemic, you get this idea of Americana, especially in like the deep South, Alabama. And you see this man just stumble through it all, which is kind of odd, but also kind of endearing. Also, nothing like the book.
Because I heard the book is like
The book-
grittier.
I've read the book. I prefer the movie.
Run, Forrest, run!
But yeah, this was, like I said, this was the lightning round of the Cold War in a movie. You've had a few of those come out through the years. Lee Daniels, the Butler, comes to mind. Coming at it from a more presidential point of view. But what do you think? Middle school. Do you think this is an appropriate movie to be showing to middle schoolers, or do you think this should have been saved for high school?
I think, listen, to what kids nowadays look online, this is like nothing. I think, no, because I remember my 8th grade social studies teacher, when there was like one of those inappropriate scenes, everybody look at me! Let's talk about things! How are things? Nice weather
No,
we're having, huh?
we never had that. But
okay, eyes back on the screen. But the thing is, I think 8th grade would be appropriate, and like with permission slips, of course. Just
yeah,
there are some scenes that are a little inappropriate, but
it's PG-13. Technically, like you could at 8th grade, you could see this movie without any problem.
But you know what? I think that should be up to. I think maybe the school board, maybe the school had a policy. That if you wanted to show a PG-13 movie, you have to R-rated movie, absolutely permission slip.
Oh, absolutely.
That is not up for debate.
Although, let's be honest, our 12th grade English teacher did not give a fuck. Showing us
like
it's
he
not.
showed us. I don't know if he's watching this. He probably isn't. But he showed us Platoon, which is R-rated, and he didn't even send us a permission slip.
With that said, though, we were 17.
Yeah, but no, I remember because I took
seen this in theaters without any problem. Well,
because I took a
There was
World War
one.
II.
There was this one time, but that's for a different video.
I took a World War II class, and I remember at the beginning of the year, the teacher said, "Okay, I want to watch, or at the very least show you scenes from these movies, which are rated R. I'm going to have to ask you to get a permission slip." And someone I knew said, "But I'm already 18." Oh, sorry, school policy. You're still viewed as a minor.
Hi.
And
Yeah.
and but yeah, I think this would be okay for middle school. Like, listen, the stuff kids look at today, this is nothing. Justin, agree or disagree?
Fair, but you do get those kids who are a little more sheltered, who probably don't go on the internet as much. I'll admit, when I was 13, 14, I was not looking at dirty stuff on the internet, or like going on YouTube watching inappropriate videos yet. That didn't come until I was like 17, 18.
Oh, if I did that when I was 13, 14, my parents would murder me. I But
don't think my parents would give a shit, but
anyway, I would say this is probably fine for middle schoolers. JT, what do you think?
I watched it in middle school, so I agree.
Okay, I'm gonna lighten around some movies. I'm going back into my wheelhouse, and you know what my wheelhouse is?
history.
Yep. And Justin will tell you I am a total history nerd, so am I. Um,
Bill, who was the eighth president of the United States?
Eighth president?
Yep.
Wasn't John Tyler, was it?
No.
Okay, Franklin Pierce?
Nope.
Andrew Jackson.
Nope.
Martin Van Buren?
Yes.
Okay, it took me a couple guesses, but I got the eventual question is I got it. Okay. But I'm gonna we talked about Saving Private Ryan, right? Briefly. But I'm gonna we'll talk about that very briefly. We talked about this in our 4th of July, so I'll keep my remarks brief. This movie shows the best depiction of D-Day.
Hands down. Bar none.
And it really shows the grit behind it. And the story behind it is very intriguing. The story behind it is very about, being home and, going home, missing your family and all that.
Yeah.
And I love the film. Some people say it's overrated, but I think it's a great movie. One of my favorites. And speaking of Spielberg,
I like the opening sequence. The rest of the movie, I could honestly give or take.
To each their own. Now, speaking of Spielberg, there's another movie I think people need to watch, and it's a very upsetting one.
And it's one I still haven't seen, and I don't know when I'll get around to it, because it's one it's not a watch that I'm looking forward to.
Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I give spoilers, Justin, or not really?
Go ahead. I think I know a lot of what happens in the movie. It's just
Okay. The movie itself, it tells the story of Oskar Schindler, who is a German war manufacturer who, during World War II and the beginning of the Holocaust, he saves Jews from concentration camps and has them work in his factory. And the film behind this is not an easy watch. I mean, I watched this in middle school in like 8th grade, and then I watched it again in I actually watched it in that World War II class I took. It took us like a whole week to watch. Because this movie's like 3 hours long. But
and And I bet watching this movie makes it very easy to see why Ray Fiennes was chosen to be Voldemort.
Yeah, but all kidding aside, Liam Neeson plays Oscar Schindler greatly. And okay, listen, this movie is a bit romanticized. Oscar Schindler was not that great of a person in real life. And so the movie is romanticized. But
One
I
movie isn't.
but I think what shows, and the red coat, for instance, that shows like humanity. Like, the movie's in black and white. And there is a scene that it's like, you see, they don't shy away from it. You see the dead bodies. They show everything. And I'm going to tell you why Spielberg made this movie, just in case. I'll tell that in a second, but there is a scene near the end. The war is over. The Allies are coming. And Oscar Schindler says, "War is over. They're coming for me. I'll be with you until midnight, but then after that, I gotta leave." And they give him a ring. And it has on the ring written, "One man who saves one life saves the world entire." And he's just, and Ishtak's, and his accountant, who's played by Ben Kingsley, he gives it to him, and Schindler's break it down. Goes, "I should have done more. I should have done more. I could have sold this jacket. I could have sold this pin. So much more I could have done." And then he goes away, and then it shows the aftermath of what happens to Ray Fiennes' character, Amon Golf. Yeah, he got executed. Yeah, you know what his last words were?
What?
Heil Hitler. I'm like thinking, yeah, how'd that work out? I'm not making fun of the subject matter, by the way. I'm just,
Yeah.
But but then, of course, this scene always makes me tear up. It shows the actual people who were on the list and the actors who played them. And they're walking by Oscar Schindler's grave, and they're putting a stone on his grave. Because in Judaism, that is a sign of respect. And it also shows Mrs. Schindler, because Oscar and Mrs. Stern, Ben Kingsley's character, because they had both passed on since then.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shows Liam Neeson, but it doesn't show his face. It just shows his body putting a rose on the grave. And then at the end, it says, "In memory of the 6 million Jews that Adolf Hitler murdered." And the reason why Spielberg made this film is because back up in the 90s, there was the start of Holocaust denial. People think, oh, it didn't happen. And Spielberg, his own experience was, he's Jewish.
Yes.
And growing up, because he grew up in a not big Jewish area. And his grandfather would call him by his Hebrew name, Shmuel. And when he would call Shmuel all time for dinner, he goes, "Grandpa, don't call me that." And he said, when I was making this film, it really made me be proud of my Jewish heritage. And here's the big reason why I think this movie needs to be shown. And I think it could be summed up best in Steven Spielberg's acceptance speech, when he said, "There are so and so many Holocaust survivors still around today. Please teach the Holocaust in your schools. Don't let it be a footnote in history. Please teach them." And listen, I'm not going to lie, this is not an easy movie to watch. But you know what? I think this is a very important movie to watch. Because you know what? Like I said, To Kill a Mockingbird, we need to feel uncomfortable. We need to be facing the truth. We need to know what happened, whether we want to know it or not. It really happened.
Yeah.
And this film, listen, it's not for everyone. If you can't watch it, I'm not going to sit here and make fun of you. Justin, as someone who's never seen it, what do you think?
This I know that this is a movie that speaks a lot of truths. Um, it is a movie that I have avoided because I know how dark and disturbing and depressing the subject matter is, and I already knew about the all these horrors that were happening in the Holocaust because I've been hearing about them all my life. You know, my grandfather, God rest his soul, my grandmother, God rest her soul, they were Holocaust survivors. Um, they never went to the camps, but I did have family who were sent to the gas chamber, and you know, I don't think there's ever a day that goes by that I don't wish that I could have met my great aunt, um, who essentially sacrificed herself so that my grandfather could live. Um, there was this one instance where my grandfather was on the run. He was on a train, and the Nazis boarded, and they were asking everyone for their papers. And my grandfather, he didn't have his papers, so he would have been captured if that Nazi that day didn't just shove him to the side and just didn't bother with him.
By the
Like,
grace of God, he survived.
exactly. So I don't need to be told that the Holocaust happened. I know it happened. I know how horrible it was.
You know what, Justin, I know probably a lot of this stuff is probably hard for you and your family to talk about, but I appreciate you sharing that with us. Because I think, there's already so many Holocaust survivors that are alive today,
Yeah.
and we need to know their stories.
And unfortunately, those numbers are shrinking. It's been almost 80 years since World War II ended.
And the stories are getting fewer and fewer. And now, because I remember I actually went to the Holocaust Museum like 10 years ago in Washington, D.C. And I remember there was a table with two Holocaust survivors. And I remember going near the table. I just wanted to hear the stories. I just wanted to hear their stories. And I remember my dad said, "Come on, let's go." Because I remember when I got there, he goes, "Hi, but can we help you?" He goes, "Oh, I just heard you guys telling your story. I like to hear." He goes, "Oh, okay." And they just continued talking. Like, no, the numbers are shrinking. We need to know these stories. People, and listen, those losers who go, "Well, it didn't happen." It did. It did. On a lighter note in this movie, I know that's ironic to say, but you know who Steven Spielberg actually called every day to give him a laugh while he was making this movie?
Oh,
The late, great Robin Williams.
huh.
We're not laughing at the movie, but he called him to because he needed a laugh during this movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
But you know what? I don't want to end on a somber note. I think there's a movie everyone should watch. And when you would talk about Stand and Deliver,
Yeah.
I think there's a better inspirational movie people could watch in school.
Is it math related?
No, it's just motivation related.
Okay.
And I like motivation, don't you? Do you like motivation, Justin?
What's the movie?
Okay, and this was actually a movie that my cousin's friend's wife, who was a school teacher, actually showed this in her class. Rudy.
Why am I not surprised?
You never saw Rudy?
So I got a story.
Hey, JT, we're randomly talking about Rudy. Just stay with us for a minute.
So the year was 2016, and we went to Hartford, Connecticut for ConnectiCon. And who was there? None other than Sean Astin himself. So most people know Sean Astin because he's Samwise Gimli from
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Oh, and he's also Bob from season 2 of Stranger Things. But of course, Bill wanted to talk to him because of Rudy.
And what's wrong with that?
It's just, I don't think he was expecting Rudy questions.
Well, no, he had pictures of him as Rudy that were available for sale.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. You want to take that statement back now, Justin?
No, I still stand by it because I'm pretty sure that most of the people talking to him was talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but no, anyway, why do I think they should show these movies in school? This movie in school? Because this movie, I think it's a good movie to show on motivation, how never to give up on your goals. Even though they seem strong, even though there's no hope. I think this is a good message. Never give up on your goals. You like where I'm going now, Justin? You got a little nervous there for a minute. Yes, this movie is romanticized. Go back to when we talked about historically inaccurate movies. This movie was romanticized.
Yeah, I was worried that I was going to need a pick me up after this episode.
But it's about Daniel E. Rudy Rudiger, who his life goal, he always wanted to play for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And everybody tell him, oh, you're not smart enough. You're not big enough. You can't play. You can't play. And he just proved them wrong. So I think this is a movie that everybody needs to watch. Young people need to watch this so they don't give up on their goals and their dreams and never give up.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, that's my spiel. Thank you. Good night. All right. So we ready to wrap it up? And before we wrap it up, JT, we have an announcement.
Oh, yes. So that's it for our show tonight, though, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So we want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. We have a special announcement for the channel, for our podcast listeners as well. For those of you who may or may not remember, we did an interview with Backtrack Vocals from New York City in April of 2023. We said this, I think I did a separate video about it, but I'm letting our listeners know now. Next week, September 4th, 2024, we will have Backtrack Vocals back on again. Thanks to Bill, and we're gonna have them on and for a little Q&A questions. So, and we do the show live on YouTube. So if you have any questions as well to ask them, please jump in the chat board for our show as well, so you can ask them questions too. We will. We're gonna run that by them too for like a live chat thing. But please, if you want to tune in and watch us live, discuss all things a cappella, music.
They're promoting their new album.
They have a new album coming out, so we're gonna try and push that for them too. Big stuff coming up for them, and we want to promote them the best we can for their podcast as well, for them as an artist as well. So just please tune in next week Wednesday, September 4th, for Mixed Bag. We're gonna have a special guest on called Backtrack Vocals from New York City. They're an a cappella group, and they might they are performing, Bill, or no? I forget.
You're all just gonna have to wait till next week.
Yes, we wait and see, and they're gonna have a great time. Bill, we have to come up with some questions.
Yes, we do. I've already thought of some. Justin, yeah, I know you weren't on in the first interview. You got to come on for this one.
I'd love to.
They're great. They're super cool.
They're very good people.
Mike is super cool. Really cool guy.
So down to earth.
Yeah, like, would you recommend that Justin watch our first interview, or is it one of those things that you don't need to watch the first one? Like, it's like one of those movies you don't need to watch the first one to know what's going on.
Justin, for your own knowledge and benefit, I would definitely maybe there's some questions that we didn't ask that we didn't come up with. You can definitely help us out with that too. That'd be great. So
okay.
Yeah. So
it's a Mixed Bag episode from 2023. So
check out next week. We're gonna have Backtrack Vocals on here. It's gonna be great.
Yes, I'll do an announcement on our social media pages as well. So and don't forget to follow us on those as well. Simply the Super Review Show, and like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Been doing a lot of postings lately on the gram and Facebook, so check those out too. Now Bill Murphy has a podcast he does on the side of this as well.
Sports Insanity Podcast on the Sports Insanity Network. Check us out. We're on all platforms. And guys, football season's coming up tomorrow. Is coming up soon. Yes. Next week. And Justin, my fantasy draft is tomorrow, so you know the rules.
Hey, I gave the news today.
Thank you for giving the news today. So you know, because Justin, tell the good people what's my rule during my fantasy draft.
Bill is not to be disturbed during his fantasy football draft, unless you want to lose your head in a very violent fashion.
What time should I not text you, bud?
I'll tell you off air because I don't want these people to know.
Oh, true. All right.
Because if they know, then they'll find out where I live, and then it's gonna be a whole brouhaha. And I don't like brouhahas.
I feel like people have a general idea of where we live at this point.
Brouhaha.
Anyways, I digress.
But okay, so we will see you next week. Backtrack Vocals will be here. It's gonna be amazing.
Yes, please tune in next week for Backtrack Vocals. Our exclusive interview with part 2 with them. It's gonna be great. So, anyways, but for all of us here at the Super Show, guys, stay safe.
Take care.
And
be awesome.